before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So, let's get into it. Alright, so Week 15 of the NFL season is coming to a close, and for the Chicago Bears, they take a close loss to the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. As usual, I'm going to give you a quick recap of the game and what I saw, give grades for offense, defense, special teams, and coaching, and without further ado, let's get into it. What's up guys, KT here, back at it with another video. Today, we're doing the Bears. The Bears take a 25-20 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, the best team in the NFL, on Sunday. They kept it close. It was a very entertaining game, but unfortunately the Bears could not come away with the win. I'm not going to hold you off for too much longer. Let's get straight into the video. Let's start with the elephant in the room. How did Justin Fields play on Sunday? Well, I thought he played pretty well, all things considering. He was 14 of 21 for 152 yards passing, averaged 10 yards per throw, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He did get sacked 6 times, and he had a 119.5 quarterback rating. Justin Fields once again had a very good game on both facets of the ball, with his rushing, with his passing. You know, he was uncomfortable for the entire game, and that's just because the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line is really, really good. They had 6 sacks on the day. And Fields was under constant pressure by this defensive line of the Eagles. Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox, Ndamukong Suh, Josh Sweat, not to mention the guys coming off the bench, and a very good linebacking core that they have. So the fact that they only gave up 6 sacks is amazing on its own. He was able to put up 2 touchdowns against this team. You know, I felt like if he had had a bit more time and a bit more weapons on the field with him, because Claypool was out, N'Keal Harry was out, Darnell Mooney was out, and so the Bears were just missing so many people on that offense. Tevin Jenkins went out also, so the Bears had a lot of injuries. And even when the game started, Equanimeous St. Brown on the first catch of the game went out with an injury. So if he had a little bit more help on the receiving side of the ball, especially with Claypool and Mooney, I felt like those numbers would have been bigger. But he only passed the ball 21 times. I thought he played pretty good, all things considering, despite being under constant pressure. Keep building off this. Keep building, growing him as a passer, and we should be good for the upcoming years. Let's get to rushing the ball. Justin Fields, again, led the rushing yards for the Bears on Sunday. He had 15 attempts for 95 yards, averaged 6 yards per scramble. Did not get that touchdown run that he usually gets every Sunday, but he did bust off a 39-yard run, which was incredible as he escaped the sack. David Montgomery, 12 attempts, 53 yards, only averaged 4 yards per carry. He did have a nice game. He did have a touchdown on the ground. But the Bears really miss Khalil Herbert. David Montgomery, he's a good back, but he cannot carry the ball 25 times per game. And they got to try to split carries because they have no backup running back. They got to find a way to move the ball somehow, and still, this team's bread and butter is running the ball. And without Fields doing that to his fullest capacity, and without Khalil Herbert out there, their rushing game really suffers, even though they still average 157 yards on the ground on Sunday. I felt like Fields, he didn't put himself at risk while running. He didn't take too many hits. He did come up limping off getting tackled on one of those runs, but it was just more like a cramp to his hamstring, and he was okay. He came back in the game and threw a perfect touchdown pass to Byron Pringle. But the rushing game, it is what it is. The Eagles are a very good defensive front. You're not going to run against that big defensive line. So, rushing, all things considering, they did pretty well. Receiving, this was the big key on Sunday, is that we had no receivers out there, at least talented receivers, to help the Bears get some points on the board. Byron Pringle, he led the team in receiving yards, and he only had 2 catches. He had 39 yards receiving. He did catch a touchdown pass, and that basically was his whole yardage because he was wide open on that play. David Montgomery, he was the second leading receiver. He only had 3 targets and 3 receptions, and he had 38 yards receiving. And he also caught a touchdown pass from a beautiful sidearm pass from Justin Fields. But other than that, Cole Kmet, he couldn't be that guy that you can just go to. Your tight end isn't really supposed to be that guy you can just go to, because he has to do so much. He has to block. He has to run block. So it's really hard for Kmet to get into a rhythm in the passing game, especially when you have a quarterback that can't sit in the pocket for more than 2 seconds. So receiving, all things considered, they did pretty poorly. When you have guys like Nasimba Webster out there and Dante Pettis out there trying to catch the ball, from Justin Fields, you're probably not going to have a good time, especially with this Eagles secondary. But all things considered, the Bears did play very well on offense. One key note, Velus Jones again has another fumble. He did not have his best game. He's not making the most of his opportunities at receiver either, so I'd be looking for him to get less playing time and maybe not play at all in the next game, because he did not have a very great game on Sunday. Defense. I thought the defense played pretty well. They were giving it to the Eagles for the first half of the game. Jalen Johnson, he stood out this game. Till the end of the game, he was kind of holding A.J. Brown, kind of boxing A.J. Brown for a while, and I thought that was a big key heading into this game, is you had to stop A.J. Brown, set that tone, make some other guys get involved. Unfortunately, Devontae Smith was the guy that got involved more throughout the entire game. He had like 100 yards receiving, but it didn't seem like the Eagles were in sync on offense, and part of that is because the Bears defense actually got pressure on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Johnson covered A.J. Brown perfectly. Kyler Gordon had an interception, and he also played pretty well. Our leading tackler on Sunday was Nicholas Morrow. He had 11 total tackles, 9 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Jack Sanborn only had 5 tackles, but that's because he went out with injury. Hopefully he's okay. It did not look particularly good. He was carted off the field. We'll get more updates as the week progresses. But other than that, the Bears got a couple sacks, so that was a good thing. Mostly coming by Jaquan Brisker and, sending those blitzes. I did not like the 0 blitz called on 3rd down before the end of the half that just led Jalen Hurts to run straight up the middle. That was one thing I didn't agree with. DeAndre Houston-Carson got an interception. Jaquan Brisker had a nice game. So I felt the defense played pretty well. They forced turnovers. It's just that the Bears did not have enough offense to capitalize off those turnovers. So I thought the defense played pretty well. Hopefully they can get healthy for the upcoming game next week. Special teams, I'm not even going to go into why special teams is becoming a problem now, because Cairo Santos is not confident enough to kick field goals now, and he continues to miss extra points, and that's a big problem for this team. Velus Jones didn't do anything with kick return, and punt return was punt return. So, I'm going to get straight into the grades. I'll give the offense a B, maybe like a B-. I felt like they played pretty well. Not too much creativity on the offensive play calling, and receiving yards left a lot to be desired. But considering what they had on the field on Sunday, the lack of talent on the field, guys going out injured, their offensive line not playing well, I felt like they fared pretty well against this Eagles defense, and they put up 20 points. So that's all you can ask for against one of the best teams in the league. Defense, I'm going to give them an A, a solid A. I thought they did a pretty good job against Jalen Hurts and that high-powered Philly offense. This is a Philly offense we're used to seeing put up 50 points every week, and they only held them to 25 and made Jalen Hurts look a little average in this game. So I thought the defense played pretty well, so they're going to get an A. Special teams, they're going to get an F. Cairo Santos, there's enough to be said about that, but not being able to kick a 49-yard field goal, that shows clear gaps in his confidence. So special teams is going to get an F. Coaching, I'm going to give them a solid B-. I felt like, Alan Williams called a pretty good game. Aside from the blitzes on 3rd down, I felt like he called a good game. He got Jalen Hurts out of his rhythm, made life tough on the Philadelphia Eagles offense. They didn't really run the ball like that either. So I felt like Alan Williams kind of contributed more to this grade, more than he did the last time the Bears played. Luke Getsy had a pretty okay game. Not too much creativity, some questionable calls on 3rd down, but I felt like he called a pretty good game of what he had. So I'm going to give the offense, I'm going to give the coaching a solid B-. But of course, the Bears take a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. They now fall to 3-11 on the season. They should have the number 2 overall pick. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna get up out of here. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the videos. That helps the channel grow. Hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop one of these Bears videos. Leave a comment in the comment section. Follow me on social media, and I'm out. Peace.